Okay. All right. Good morning. Thank you very much for joining us at the Network Breakfast. At this time, I'm going to introduce each of our participants for today in our discussion of 6 reasons why companies lose their best employees. And we're going to start by saying good morning to Chris Walters.
Good morning, Tom. Chris Walters with See-Through Windows. I provide vinyl replacement windows and glass block. I cover a territory from Port Clinton to the Pennsylvania border, Cleveland to Canton. We also will install windows for you. You can call us within 24 to 48 hours. You will have a window quote. Right now, we're out 3 weeks. So just to let everybody know, this is the busy season, so it gets a little further out for installation. So they got to know that. Thanks and have a good day.
Great. Thank you, Chris. Wonderful company, too, I know. Okay, and now we're going to say good morning to Marty. Good morning, Marty.
Good morning, everyone. As you see behind me, I work for Coldwell Banker Realty, the top workplace in Ohio. So
wow.
Thank you, everybody, for that. I help people buy or sell their home. With the interest rate so low, there's no reason to rent unless your credit score is really, really bad. So give me a call. I can help you find your perfect home. 216-544-4164.
Excellent. Thank you, Marty, and thanks for being here today. I appreciate it a lot. Okay, we're going to say good morning to rlord. Good morning, Rob.
Good morning. I work for Kennard Financial Services. I am a financial advisor, and my goal is to get you to and through retirement and all your future financial needs, whether it be insurance or investments. Just give me a call. Look us up on the website, kennardfinancial.com.
Excellent. Thank you. And thanks for joining us, Rob. Now we're going to say good morning to Lee Jackson. How are you, Lee?
Terrific, Tom. Hello,
Good.
Everybody. I work with Right at Home. We are a non-medical home care company with the goal, very simply, of helping people age in place, helping them be the best they can possibly be, leading the best quality life they can enjoy and lead in wherever they're located, whether that happens to be their house that they've lived in for a long time, whether they've moved into an apartment or a condominium, or even if they've already taken that next step and have moved into an assisted living facility. We can help them with companionship, with daily activities of life, hygiene, a little bit of light housekeeping and cooking and cleaning, whatever it takes to keep the person happy and healthy in the place that they are and enjoying and moving forward in life from that perspective. Again, Lee Jackson with Right at Home, non-medical home care. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Lee. And thank you for your service to our community. I appreciate it. Okay. Good morning, lovely and talented Trina.
Wow. Good morning, everybody. My name's Trina Gigax. My company is Fresh Eyes Reading. It's fresheyesreading.com. I'm a copy editor, and I help work with your writing, whether your web person has written it or you've written it, newsletters, publications, presentations. I go through the structure, your phrasing, your word use, the content, and refine it to make it easier for the reader. Anytime you can make your writing easier for the reader, it helps them grab the content, understand it, and they're more likely to stick with you, read more, act upon it, call whatever your call to action is. It's Trina Gigax at fresheyesreading.com.
Thank you, Trina. Thanks for being here. Now we'd like to say good morning to Mike Bentley.
Great to be here with you. And again, my name is Mike Bentley from the Brooks and Stafford Company, and I can help you navigate through the maze of confusion that so commonly occurs when people have to make Medicare decisions. Not only can I help you, but I can help your loved one. So I look forward to talking with you and helping you in guidance. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks for being here. And now, last but not least, one of our truly favorites, Arie Teomi. Good morning, Arie.
Of course, favorite. Good morning, everybody.
Yes, sir.
I'm Arie Teomi. My company is Lasting Impression Direct. We are a full-time, full-service printing and a direct mail company. We do everything that you need for your office on a daily basis. Everything that is ink on paper. We also specialize in direct mail. We have access to high quality mailing lists, and we plan direct mail campaign. We get a good list. We make a good copy. We print and mail, getting lower prices from the post office. So we can help almost every company to get more customers that will pay their more money more often. If you need more information, you can go to our website, www.lastingimpressiondirect.com. Again, Arie Teomi, Lasting Impression Direct.
Excellent. Thank you, Arie, and thank you for joining us. Okay,
Sure.
At this point, I'm going to share the screen and show you what the text and a couple of graphics of our topic for today, 6 reasons why companies lose their best employees. So here we're going to go click on share screen, and I'll pick this one. Bang. Okay. So there we are, 6 reasons why companies lose their best employees. Little graphic there of the best employees flying away. And what will list those 6 are this. Number 1 of the 6, lack of a clear vision. And we're going to go over each of these with some text. And you could, any one of you, please jump in at any time. Lack of a clear vision. Number 2, the performance review fallacy. Number 3, tailoring talent to tasks. 4, letting work infringe on personal time. Number 5, only giving negative feedback. And 6, lies, lies, lies. It's not as dire as that sounds, but it may be appropriate. And you'll see the little funny that went along with this story. On Mondays, he delivers fresh personnel, and on Fridays, he picks up the empties.
Cute cartoon.
Yeah. I don't know if you've ever heard the term burn 'em and turn 'em. And, you get somebody in and you use them up, and then you replace them with somebody else that's ambitious and who bought into your company's plan. Okay, so let's move on. And number 1 is, first we're going to overview. Ask the leaders of almost any successful organization, and they'll tell you that their key employees are among their most valued assets. Unfortunately, many of them will leave. All too often, the reasons for their departure are avoidable. Here are some reasons why companies lose their best employees and what can be done today to help you reduce the risk of it happening to you. And this is one of the graphics that the SmartDraw company who did this presentation, this is the kind of thing you could do. And each of those are the titles of the 6 that we're going to handle. And here is number 1, lack of a clear vision. So employees want to feel passionate and excited about the business they work for. A clear and well-communicated vision is imperative. If an organization fails to communicate its goals to employees, they can soon lose drive and direction. If there is an absence of vision, people may look for inspiration in a different organization. If you've worked for somebody and you never hear anything about what's going on, you begin wondering what your value is to a company. Or if you're the one at the top of the heap, at least for your group, and you don't communicate what you think, probably on a daily basis, maybe even more often than that, people are going to feel distant and they're not going to be as connected to the company. I'm wondering.
Yeah, I think.
Yes, Trina, please.
No, I was just going to say, I think when I looked at these, number 1 and number 6 were things that I really recognized about working for people in the past. And if you just feel like a number and you're just the same as everybody else and you just go to work to get your paycheck, you'll drop out. And feeling a part of it with the company, communicating what's going on and what their goals are and what their vision is, I think that helps people really feel a part of it and take a true interest in it and they're more likely to really want to work for the company.
Yes, absolutely. If you don't feel like you're on the in, then you feel like if you're not here, nobody would notice, nobody would care. And if something better comes along, you'll probably bolt. And the company that you leave will be the worse for it. It's too bad, but that's what happens when you don't communicate.
No,
Yes,
yeah, go ahead.
please.
Tom, I think the thing that a lot of people don't understand is I don't think the companies even know what their vision is. And it's very hard if they don't know what their vision is to explain it to their employees.
Yeah, right. I know that there are companies where the employees have no faith in the plans or the future of the company because they either don't trust or don't know the employers well enough. And it gives them a very uneasy feeling. And people don't want to do that. Although I do know these days that it's not as imperative that you stay with the same company your whole career. It's no longer the negative it used to be to have 3 or 4 or 5 jobs in a 10 or 15 year period, because some employers want to know that you are a goal-oriented person, and if you weren't challenged enough and you moved on to another company that challenged you, that's a good thing rather than a bad thing. But still, you have to communicate with your employees. Okay, we'll move on to number 2. The performance review fallacy. I like this number 2 a lot. Valuable employees want to know that they are valued. They want to know that their efforts are worthwhile. And if they aren't doing something correctly, they'd like to know that too. Yet, all too often, employees feel that they are left in the dark on these issues. Then they get hit with something surprising at the annual performance review. Let's face it, the annual performance review is a thing of the past. Now, this is from monster.com. And it's time to throw it in the junk heap of history. Good managers are good communicators. They constantly solicit the opinions of their staff and are open to feedback. This isn't just good management. It's also good personal conduct that shows people you care about them. If you do need to continue having annual performance reviews, then you should have one goal at every review you conduct. There should never, ever be anything in the review that is a surprise to the employee. If you wait a year to tell somebody that you don't like their work, how bad is that? And it sort of dumps on them. So this is like paramount in my mind. There should never, ever be anything in the review that is a surprise to the employee. Has anything like that ever happened to somebody? You get a review and they told you something that happened months ago that they should have told you about back then? Well, that's what this is all about. Let's go on to number 3. Tailoring talent to the tasks. One of the ways to ensure key employees stick around is to make sure they are happy in their work. I know years ago, organizations didn't care whether you were happy. They just wondered whether you showed up every day and did your job and didn't call in sick and whatever. You had very few sick days, and the first thing you were interested in is not when your coffee break or when can you smoke. A key to happiness is to have them working on projects which match their talents and desires. Many times people are viewed as merely a resource. People don't want to feel like that. But then it says, does the term human resources ring a bell? That a slotted project is based on availability. And over the long term, this can lead to dissatisfaction. Part of the ongoing dialogue with your employees should focus on whether both parties feel their talents are being best put to the best use. Now, I know for me, some of the companies I have worked for, there weren't that many employees. So each of us did several things, which sort of stretches this out a little bit. Because if you're asked to do something that you normally wouldn't do, but you're just like me, I very rarely say no. When somebody says to me, can you, I usually say yeah. Because if I don't right this minute, I will 5 or 10 minutes from now. I'll know all there is to know about it, and I'll continue and I'll proceed and do a good job. But some folks aren't like that. They are geared to what they know best, and they should be used in that way. Here's another one of the graphics that SmartDraw can create that you can use in a print or online, and it gives sort of a flow chart of what you can do, tailoring talent to tasks. All right, let's move on to number 4. This is good. Letting work infringe on personal time. Work fatigue is becoming a bigger issue for many white-collar workers, especially with technological advances. Sometimes workers may feel it is not enough to put in 8 or more hours at the office. They are then subjected to work-related phone calls or emails at night and even on weekends. Or they must take business trips in which flights are made on weekend days without any PTO days given to offset them. Keeping people happy and productive is easier when they are given ample time to relax and get away from work. But I do know from an employer point of view, getting the job done is usually more important than whether your employee is being happy and productive. That's unfortunate. We've gone through a horrible 3 or 4 months now, and getting the job done in this climate has been hard, especially if now you're working from home, and it's probably become, I hate to use the term, but the new normal. There'll be more of this. And it remains to be seen whether ultimately we are more or less productive by working from home or going to the office. Are we happier if we're in with all our friends and employees? Are we working in the same building, or you go to lunch and you come back and you work on projects together? Are we happier and more productive that way? Or are we more productive working from home with a camera and our Zoom program?
Tom, can I jump in here?
Absolutely, please, Lee.
So I think that you're onto something that is all of us deal with and that we're all struggling with. And I think that that's the double-edged sword of technology, quite honestly, in that it can produce and give amazing output at amazing times and get amazing results. But the negative of that is that employers frequently, and even yourself, because we're all driven, know that we're on call 24/7, 365. It's very hard to get away from it. So I think what we're going to need to see more and more people do, and more people are going to need to learn that skill set, is to be able to balance their lives, whether it's in the COVID environment now where we're all working at home. And I think more and more people are going to be working at home even after this is over. But the balance of that technology and the opportunity to get away, to rest, recuperate, and not be on that 24 call, whether it just be shutting your phone off or whether it be setting certain parameters with your boss or setting parameters with yourself as to when you can work and when you can't work, because I just don't know that it's always a good thing to be working or have that mind going on the business 24/7. And I think that's going to be one of the ongoing biggest challenges we're all going to face.
Yeah. And I know myself that I've worked for a company that the owners, because they're paying me, they call me at 10 o'clock at night and ask me, can I figure this out? Or what was the actual result of the meeting that we had 2 days ago? And it's as though there are no there are no barriers to their connection with me. And truthfully, as with like invoicing, you guys heard me complain when we were meeting in person that I'm the last one to ask for an invoice or to offer an invoice. And I'm also the last one to complain about somebody who calls me 2 or 3 times in an evening to get something straight that has to do with what I did yesterday or whatever. And I just go along with it because I don't know, I just don't complain. So maybe I should. In this particular number 4, it's as though I'm at fault because I need to let my feelings be known that I appreciate you like waiting till tomorrow morning to give me a call to ask me about something, because it probably could have waited till the next day. But then
I
again,
think, Tom, can I
yes.
jump in here?
Yes, sir, Mike.
For many of us, we work solo, work remotely, work from our homes, and because we're essentially self-employed. I, however, work at an office, and I can already see some changes in dynamics with individuals. When you have workforces, and for example, Medical Mutual of Ohio is the largest health insurer in Ohio. As of right now, 97% of their workforce is working remotely. 97%. What you do not have is the social interaction. I think you're going to see more personal, social dysfunction and psychological issues with people, and even with children, not being able to play with other children, interact with other children in neighborhoods. I think there's the lack of affirmation. When you're working virtually, when you're working remotely, being taken from an office setting where you've socialized, you've talked around the coffee machine, the water cooler, you may have the freedom to do your work the way you want to do it at home in your pajamas or without your shoes on or whatever, but you're losing out on social interaction and the potential of getting that affirmation. I think you're less likely to get affirmation from your coworkers or your superiors when you're working virtually as compared in a social office environment.
I agree. This goes back to balance, what Lee was saying. You have to balance everything. And like for you, Tom, I mean, a lot of people take that on and they know from the start that it's going to be that kind of a job and you're going to be called on 24/7 and on weekends. And some people really thrive on that, and family and downtime is second because they need that. But for the majority of the people, I would say in the old model of when we went to work, they need a combination of downtime for re-energizing and refreshing and social interaction. It all goes to, your feeling about the company and about each other, and, working together as a team. All this, I generally, people are social people. Even if you're an introvert, generally I would say people are social and they need that kind of interaction. So a little bit of it, like Mike said about the coffee talk, that's all part of that balance. You get away from your desk just for 10 minutes to get a cup of coffee and talk to somebody, and that feeds you somehow. And then you go back to your work. So you get these little breaks where we're not seeing all that right now. And yeah, the model will definitely change for the future, but I hope there's a way to get some time off and to have some social interaction. And, the way it used to be a little more balanced, I think that was, although people were kind of working too much, and we've learned the importance of family time and doing other things now in life, there still were some advantages and some benefits to working in a work environment. So I hope, it's all about balance. I absolutely agree. It's all about balance.
Yeah.
See, the one thing
And
that I think, see, Tom and I have a little different or view of this because we own our own businesses, and I agree with Tom. I'm on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And sometimes it will drive you totally insane. And I'll give you a story. About 2 or 3 weeks ago, on a Friday afternoon, my wife said, let's go out to dinner because I'm getting sick and tired of being inside. So I'm driving from Stowe to Macedonia. My phone went off 5 or 6 times. She finally took the phone and threw it in the back of my van so I wouldn't answer it. And this is, I get telephone calls from 8 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. And I understand this because of the people I work with, but it's very, very hard on you socially because you just don't get to have that downtime. And I'm one of the worst at this because I answer the phone every time it calls. So I've got to look at myself and say, this has got to be enough.
Right. Tom and you and other people, Mike, whoever, even the company owner has to put it upon themselves to find some balance because it makes you a better person. It makes you a better boss. It makes you a better spouse and family person too. I think everybody needs some of it. That's what I meant by that.
I agree.
yeah, it might depend on the job you're in too, because some of us, we can only talk to certain clients or people in the evenings when they're available. They're not able, like a teacher, they can't just tell the classroom to sit down and be quiet. I got to talk to my financial advisor. So it's something that you have to accept it when you take on a position. And I've talked to other people in my industry, and they some of them set certain evenings that they will take calls later or make calls later, 1 or 2 evenings a week, but the others they're off, and they make that clear to the clients. You know, I had one that always called me Saturday mornings. I finally had to tell her I don't work on Saturdays. Now, I'll make exceptions to meet with a client if that's when they can meet, but we plan that ahead of time. I can plan that day. But when she would always call me on a Saturday, and so that hasn't happened. So you have to sometimes set the groundwork on that. And then on the other thing with this whole not working remotely and stuff, the other thing we're missing, not just working together and having that social, a lot of times some of us would do happy hour and stuff with everything shut down, or we're not doing that. That would just be, we could let loose and, you know, let our guard down a little, be more of ourselves, and we're all missing out on that. Even family time, or my wife and I wanting to go out to dinner with a group of, you know, a couple of other friends, we're not doing that now. We might have them over here, but we're missing a whole social aspect in our lives. So that's something that hopefully will change soon, but until then, it's all about balance again, Trina.
Piggybacking on that a little bit further with the whole balance theme, and going back to the whole reason Tom presented this in the first place, which is why employees are leaving companies, and arguably what can we do to maintain and retain employees on the other side of the flip side of that, is I think it's all about setting expectations if you're the owner, setting expectations with your employees as you bring them in. And then if you set those expectations, like Rob said, you know, some of his colleagues set, I'm only going to take calls on Monday and Thursday, and on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, or I'm off. You set that expectation up front. And then I think the employees feel valued. I think they know what they're expected to do, and it's not going to be as much of the 24/7. We all need to go above and beyond, and we all need to recognize there's clients and circumstances that can change that. But I think it's going to be a huge burnout factor if everybody's going to be working 24/7 in perpetuity. And I think that if you set those expectations up front, I think it can go a long way to having a happier workforce, retaining employees better, recruiting better employees. Just my thought.
Yeah, I think some of this has to do with the fact that we had such a low unemployment rate 4 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then now you click your finger and like 50 million people are out of work. And what that does is the ones that are still working think that they got to stay on that treadmill and do as much as they can to keep it going, because they know people in their lives, or they've read or seen on TV or something, all the people that are out of work, and they're just happy to be working. But what that can do is most of you have mentioned, you get burned out and you may be working, but you're not that happy about it. And when things will calm down, and they will, what's left is going to be, unfortunately, a lack of interaction. And online interaction is okay, but there's nothing like being with somebody. There's nothing like shaking hands. There's no substitute for that. There's no emotional equivalent that you can create. When somebody says to you, good job, and puts out his hand and you shake it, there is a certain sense of gratification in that, whether you are the giver of that or the recipient of that. And unfortunately, while Zoom is convenient, it doesn't provide that. You're only what you see and what you can hear. So we have to evoke emotions in us by how we speak. And the only one that I knew was really good at that was Shakespeare. So let's go on to number 5. Only giving negative feedback. You know, like if you don't hear anything, everything must be okay, right? And the time you're going to hear about it is when something's wrong, unfortunately. It's easy to be critical when people make mistakes. In fact, it's good management to reprimand unwanted behavior as soon as possible. But this can't be the only feedback people receive, or they'll become unhappy. Make sure that positive feedback is also given. Here's some simple feedback rules. Negative feedback should be given immediately and in private. Don't shake somebody down in front of everybody else. Not good. You want to keep that employee? That's not what to do. Positive feedback can be given anytime, preferably while the news is still relatively fresh and in public. You walk by the guy, hey, Andy, good job. Thank you so much. The rest of the people see and they think, okay, we're getting recognized for how we do.
Praise publicly, reprimand privately.
Exactly.
Hey, Tom and group, sorry, I have to leave. It's 8:30.
8:30.
And we'll catch you next time.
All right. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye, Mike.
Same
Bye.
here, Tom.
Okay, Rob, it's 8:30. And I'm going to hit
Okay.
this last one here. We'll go to the last one and we'll wrap this up. Lies, lies, lies. This should really be listed as item number 1. No one wants to be lied to, but organizations frequently lie to their people, according to Dominique Rogers. And she works she's an author at monster.com, which we mentioned earlier. Monster.com, they have online video resumes. They have job openings. They have how you can better present yourself. Monster.com for anything job related. The 3 big ones, the 3 big lies is when a company says we promote work-life balance. And we looked at that in item number 4. See item number 4. If you are requiring people to work long hours, take work home, and lose sleep over ridiculous scheduling, you aren't promoting work-life balance. But you're telling them you are. If we do, here's another quote, if we do as well as we project, everyone will receive an annual bonus. Dangling a carrot as an incentive is one thing, but if no one ever gets to taste it, there will be animosity. Don't promise or even dangle what you don't reasonably expect to deliver. And number 3, we will give you an opportunity to advance your career in our company. All of us have heard that, I'm sure. And those of us who have been employers have said it. We will give you an opportunity to advance your career in our company. Unless you can lay out specific goals, milestones, and rewards, it's best not to offer vague promises such as this. And that, if any of you have any comments on these last ones? Okay.
They all seem true.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, unfortunately, they do ring true that these are the they're like generic things to try to pump you up to do a good job for the reward that may or may not ever come. So this Dominique Rogers from contributing author at monster.com, her mentioning these, probably because these are the ones that we hear most often. And it's true. And we have to be aware of it. And also, each of us, I've always thought this, and I've said it to people who are interested in listening, is that even if you're working for a company, you still are an independent contractor. You have a job to perform, and you're going to perform that job for someone. If you're an employee somewhere and you act like you're a subcontractor, you're way better off, because you'll do what's right. You'll show up like it's your own company, and companies love that. You're involved. You keep yourself up to date on what's happening. There's very few things you don't know, at least peripherally, about what the company's doing and what your responsibility to that is. And with that, I'm going to say, I got one more slide, which is hopefully not an employee leaving the company. He's all packed up. He's got his little box with his books and everything, and he says, bye. And then, of course, I thank you for your kind attention. And now I'm going to stop sharing, and we'll go back to our window, and boom. And there I am.
Tom, I think the major thing, if you'll notice, and this was, I forget what statistic it was, in the last 2 months, people have left their jobs and started their own business. And I think that's where it's going, that a lot of people are leaving. They're not leaving to go to another business. They're starting their own. And that's pretty interesting. You would love to know what they're starting and what they're doing. You know what?
Yeah. Well, you know, when you get to a point where you think you don't have anything to lose, you might as well take a shot. Because as I tell people, this is not a dress rehearsal. This is one time through our lives and the things we do. You're going to regret the things you did not do. You're not going to regret the things you did, because we have certain windows of opportunity that we will either take advantage of or not. And some of us have the intestinal fortitude to franchise or move out on your own. I think Arie has done that a few times. Arie was a member of a franchise, and he thought he could do better on his own. And what an inspiring story that is. And then he created his own company in a business that he was safely in a franchise. But you moved out of that, Arie, and so we all can.
Sometimes it's good to be a part of a franchise. And my franchisor was okay. He didn't help me a lot. That's why I decided to go on my own. But they were good and very supportive to people that need their help. And many people needed their help. I did not. And I still live in, even now, I'm in very good terms with them. Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's good. It's even if you did separate, it was on good terms. Excellent. Which is, I'm sure most of the decisions you make are like that. So here we are, and we've come. It's 8:36, so I think we should wrap this up, and we'll pick it up again next week. If anybody would like to present in the weeks coming up, please let me know. Give me a title, give me a subject, give me a little blurb. But in the meantime, thank you very much for joining us at the Network Breakfast here on our YouTube channel. We're all so happy that you're here. Please subscribe and comment below. And we'll see you next week, okay? All right. Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you, Marty.
It was nice
Thank you,
seeing
Lee.
everybody.
Thank you, Trina. And especially thank you, Arie, for joining us. And we'll see you again next week, okay?
Okay.
Okay, bye.
Hey,